to Who Corner to Corner. I am Paul and I'm here with Jeff, my good friend, except that I do not recognize the word or the meaning of friend.
All right, mate.
However,
okay?
Yes, I am fine today. It is a sunny day, but I do miss the smell of a well-cooked meal. Was it a smell? Was it a smell or the taste of a well-cooked meal? Oh, I knew I was going to mess it up. Oh, never mind. Oh, dear, it's such good fun. The things we get up to here on Who Corner to Corner podcast, people, you wouldn't believe it. It's literally just hours of fun.
You wouldn't believe
games.
it. You wouldn't believe it.
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
How you doing, Jeff? You're right, me old chum, me old mucker, me old mate. Yeah,
yeah,
good?
I'm fine. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm all right, actually. Yeah, I think I'm getting used to recording these late at night because I now stay in bed until 9 o'clock so that I'm a little bit fresher by the time we get to record at midnight. It's not quite midnight, but it is by the time we finish. It's a hard life when you get to my age, mate. For. Every hour counts. What do you say?
I said, depends how long you talk for.
Yeah, that's true. I do talk a lot, don't I? Right.
Yeah.
I'll shut up then. I'll let you crack on. Go on.
Well,
what are we talking about today, Jeff?
We're asking the question, which is the best Cyberman?
Yes. That was it. I knew it was something like that. Yeah, which tin pot tantrum master are you afraid of the most? I should have worked that.
Is that what they're called? Tin pot tantrum master.
Yeah, you're just a race of tin soldiers wandering about the galaxy or something like that. Tom Baker said I was going to do quite a bit of preparation for this one, but in the end, it just comes out the last minute rush.
Quite a bit as
I've got some pictures ready. Yeah, so we can go through pictures and talk about those. Yeah. But I was going to get quotes, I was going to get facts and all sorts of stuff, mate.
Well,
if one of us is on the ball, if both of us were on the ball, we might actually get it done.
If people enjoy this, then we can. There's a myriad other topics. What is the best Dalek? Last week we had what's the best Sonic screwdriver? Sonic screwdriver.
Screwdriver? Is that is that a pirate term? Is that? And so we've already done which is the best Sonic screwdriver. We did that one last time.
Yeah. And I slipped that.
It took all of 5 minutes.
That rare Sonic in, and nobody said anything. So
no, because you know why? It's not interesting. That's why. Only you found it interesting. You and your mate in Bridgend.
Bridgend?
I don't know. Do you know anyone in Bridgend?
I have been to Bridgend, but
where is Bridgend anyway?
It's next to Arsend.
That's not very nice. You just lost us 13 listeners now from Bridgend.
Wouldn't it be funny if that was one of the places where people were listening?
Yeah. I'm writing in from Bridge. This is Brenda from Bridgend, and I'm very annoyed at Jeff saying we're near the Arsend. Arsend is actually 70 miles away from here. We got nothing to do with them. We don't talk to them. Anyway, right. So we're talking about, yes.
We're going to talk, I was going to say, in the still absence of anything else going on.
Yeah.
Although it was saying that, as you'll have probably seen, and we'll talk about this a bit later, but as you'll have no doubt seen by now, the new wave of character options, online exclusive figures, has been revealed. So that's very exciting. So we'll have a little chat about that later. So let's talk cybers.
Cybers, is that what we're calling them now in this new 21st century age?
Yeah.
Cybes.
So why don't we go all the way back to the very beginning with them and their first appearance. So what should we do? Let's kind of, why don't we go through and discuss them all? But
should we do that?
Yeah, I'm keen to find out your favourite incarnation, and we've got quite a few comments as well, haven't we?
We do. We've got some comments to read out. Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who commented. It really is fantastic when we get some engagement, and Blue Sky's been working out quite well for us lately, hasn't it?
It has, although I haven't been able to log on to it today. It's had some kind of weird fiddly fit. I don't know if it's been hacked by Russians or something, but it's
something's wrong with it, although it seems to be
something's going on. So apologies anyone Blue Sky, and I know there's a few of you. We probably we'll have another look in a minute, but as of early this evening, I wasn't able to get into the account and see any comments, but I know there are some in there. Sure.
I've just been able to get in now. Can you see them?
What? Can I see your?
Oh,
let's have a look. Do we have to do that now?
No, but if we've got comments, but you can't get in. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I can't see the comments.
Can you do it? No, you can't.
No.
Can you? No, it's all frozen up. It's all gone on the fritz.
That's
so
annoying.
It's the same on my PC as well.
Yeah,
so
that's what
presumably
I'm
it's a
looking
Blue
at.
Sky issue rather than a.
But you know, I
issue.
can see the comments. It's fine. Anyway, right, back to it. We'll come back to that.
It has been invaded by the cyber force.
Yeah.
No more Blue Sky for Earth people. Hey, see, I'm on it, mate. Just switch on the old cyber voice, just like that.
Yeah.
So okay.
I was going to put a special effect on it, but I'm not going to.
You don't need to.
Nope.
I mean, I won't be able to speak again for the next half an hour, but that's probably not a bad thing, actually, for your point of view, is it? Right, okay, so let's have a look. Let's go all the way back to the monsters from Mondas. Dun, dun, dun. These little dudes here. Let me just hide that stupid thing. I hate that comes up. There you go. So this is the 10th planet, isn't it? Way back in 1966.
There was something really unnerving about that picture, I think, with and that
just the picture, or
no, the whole look of them, the sort of weird sock face thing, the makeshift chest piece thing, and they're standing in the snow there, and obviously it's kind of black and white, and just
very creepy, isn't it?
It is creepy, yeah, and I know people, some people really like that version of them there. It's like Cyberman 0.1, isn't it? Before they.
It's like Cyberman.
Yeah, before they evolve, and
it makes like a proto. I mean, these are the Cybermen, or this is what the Cybermen in spare parts become. Isn't it? That big Finnish audio with the I mean, look at the size of that chess piece.
Yeah.
It's enormous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got some other pictures in here as well, actually, from the 10th planet. There you go. That's another one. I don't see that any better, but so they've got all this guff going on here. This is like a gun that they pick up and they fire. They go, and it goes all bright light and everything. So,
and when
the weirdest, go on.
So, well, I was to say, obviously, when they made them there, they were just of the episode of the time, with no thinking to what might happen to them years down the line.
Yeah, exactly.
They've obviously developed, and like we're saying, this is kind of proto Cybermen in a way, and it's sort of a bit like they're carrying their things that they need and their weapons around with them as they evolve, and it gets built into them and things.
That's right.
Before you go any further, there's a comment from Robert Sinicki here on Blue Sky. I always loved the original ones. They were very unnerving. You could see the humans there that are more robotic and emotionless. The newest ones for me are too close to simply being robots, which is an interesting point.
We've had a few people say similar things, haven't we? Actually, that a lot of the newer ones tend to be more robotized, or whatever.
Which I don't think is. I do get it, like these ones are particularly kind of creepy and scary. But obviously the Cybermen, in lore, in the world are, evolving and developing and things, so becoming more kind of robotic and sleek is not, out of the question for them, I don't think. But yeah, there is definitely something about this version of him. It looks like he's got like an accordion on his chest. He's just going to stop and bust out a couple of tunes.
Yeah, with some wooden puppets on strings or something like that.
Yeah,
but that's what they call them in spare parts, isn't it? If I recall correctly.
What, the chest piece?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they do. Don't know, they call them accordions. You got your accordion or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do. Yeah,
we looked at that. We listened to that ages ago, didn't we?
It was a while back now, wasn't it? Okay, so that is whoops. Yeah, there you go. That's the 10th planet. Yeah. Apologies for the somewhat shaky presentation of this, and of course, people on audio, they won't be able to see this, so you'll have to watch this bit.
Come over to YouTube.
YouTube. However, what we're doing is we're kind of just showing a few stills that I've managed to grab from a quick internet search. It's actually very difficult trying to find decent images of some of these old episodes, actually. And I did try and get some off BBC iPlayer. So I was doing some little screen grabs, but they weren't much better.
Best place to look is the Black Archive.
You're keeping that link to yourself, aren't you?
We'll just Google it. But I would say if it's not on there, it's not worth having. To be honest.
There you go. How much do they pay you? You got your little brown envelope?
No. It's still on the way.
Right. You got a few new figures behind you there, mate.
Fantastic.
It is good.
Side.
Yeah, it is.
Really good. So
it is good.
This was the first Doctor here, wasn't it?
It was
going up against them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they were sort of redeveloped in some way, weren't they? For Twice Upon a Time, is that what it's called?
Yes,
Twice Upon a Time when David Bradley, or when William Hartnell kind of weirdly morphed into David Bradley at the start of that episode, which I thought was quite nicely done, actually.
Yeah.
But I think, and of course, Peter Capaldi, the reason for them appearing in that story is because Peter Capaldi cited these old Cybermen as his favourite of all of them, didn't he?
Yeah.
So they were kind of brought back in the Doctor. The world enough and time, the Doctor Falls, and Twice Upon a Time, that kind of whole trilogy at the end there.
Yeah.
But they weren't quite the same proportion, I noticed, and their big lights weren't as ginormous as this thing.
Right.
I mean, this was some powerful arc lamp in there. Again, I think a lot of it was kind of stripped back. So although they resembled these old Mondasian type marauders, they weren't quite exactly the same. And something else I want to say about these guys as well is when they speak, they just open their mouths, they go like that, and then the whole words come out without their lips kind of moving, which is massively freaky. And of course the other thing is they're ginormous. These guys, the actors in these suits, are very big. You can see it when they're up against Hartnell and the other guys in the cast, how they are literally looking right up at them. So it's, they must have been a really impressive sight back. I mean, they're still quite impressive now, 60-odd years later. But back then, we wouldn't have seen anything like this on TV at all.
Yeah, I bet it was terrifying.
So it's no wonder they made a big impression. So big, in fact, that they came back the following year with the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, in the story The Moon Base.
Yeah, that's
with a bit of a... Is it? It's a bit of a design overhaul here. Well, complete top to bottom redesign, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's still obviously them. I think the chest piece there and the handles. But yeah, they have sort of changed quite a bit there, including their sports ball accessories as well.
Yeah, these guys in this shot here, when they're sort of walking on the moon, look like they're kind of, I don't know, like a group of lads going off to the prom or something in their best Sunday suits. They do look very smart, actually. The trousers, a little bit of creasing going on. But
yeah.
It's and of course, so the accordion has been kind of stripped down a fair bit, hasn't it? It's a lot slimmer than it was on the 10th planet.
I quite like that they had those sorts of pointy hands here as well, the fingers.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah, these weird
three
alien
fingers or something. I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah, and to me, this makes them look a little bit more alien, isn't it? So in the 10th planet, you could see, like you said, I think they recognisably were once human because they got 5-fingered hands, which I think it's just like gloves on them, or they're bare, aren't they? Actually, thinking about it.
Yeah.
But here they look a lot more alien. Oh, one other thing on the 10th planet, actually, I forgot to mention is that when they first appear, they have big fur hooded kind of cloaks. And they pull them up over their big helmet lights, which we've never seen since then.
No,
I think. But,
no.
I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Again, the whole visual impact of that must have been really striking. And then, of course, you get these guys on the moon. And I think Jamie has a bit of a freak out on it, doesn't he, when he's suffering from the space plague. But, I mean, imagine waking up to that thing looking down on you. You wouldn't want that, would you?
No, not at all, no. I just want, before I forget, there's a comment from the future is for everyone here on Blue Sky. Jumping ahead a bit, but I'm reading it because it makes sense in a moment. I'm tempted to say the warrior Cybermen from Ascension of the Cybermen. They're a gorgeous blend of several, but the winner is 10th Planet, especially the way they're brought back in World Enough and Time. Simultaneity, a costume.
Simultaneously.
It's spelled. It's not that, but that's what it means. A costume your mother made out of cardboard and a terrifying threat, a 60s love letter. I quite like in how in World Enough and Time you sort of see them in like the wards, you know, and they're pain, and it sort of further reinforces the thing that they're people, you know, being converted like that in a more kind of horrible way than you get in Age of Steel and stuff, which is still pretty horrible. But for some reason, the thought of what's going into making these versions is really horrific.
And that whole kind of almost like Baker-like future, that retro, really, you know, I call it Baker-like because it's as if it's a future that was designed in the 1930s or 40s or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like that film Metropolis. It's that kind of feel, which I find really effective and really quite scary. BioShock is, you know, all digging into that sort of that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, so much more. And I do wonder, actually, because there's no, you know, saying that these guys are a little bit more insect-like. There they are again. You sort of see the differences there. A little bit more insect-like. But there's no reason why Cybermen only convert humans, you know, Earth people. They could quite very easily go to some planet where people might be slightly human but only have 3 fingers or be more insect-like or something. You know, there's all, you know, when you look at all the variants of Cybermen, it's maybe one of the reasons why they are all different. It's because they recruit or convert from different races.
That's a bit like the alien, you know, when it
exactly,
you know, impregnates something, it takes on traits of it. Hence the dog
Alien
one
3,
in
it's more like a dog, isn't it?
Yeah. And thinking about the cyber shade, the furry Cyberman
furry
thing,
critters.
Well, that was, I can't remember if they explain it, if it's like some sort of weird experiment they were doing, but yeah,
it's just a dog or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or bears. Is it like a bear?
Yeah, but I quite like that.
The doctors say they've been experimenting with bears or something like that.
But then but like you just said, maybe they do, you know, they could go and take, you know, other life forms and convert them. It's quite an interesting idea, yeah.
There you go. So then, that's the other thing, actually, from the moon base. They shoot weird string out of their top knots, out of their heads. So actually, that's a different Cyberman. That's from Wheel in Space. So that's slightly out of sync. Apologies for that. So much for my my tape. There should be. Aldi Ross's a minute. Let me shut him off. I had numbered them. Look, but it's obviously showing them in a weird order, right? So then you get 2. Here you go. Right, there you go.
Well,
and then you get this fellow, the cyber controller.
He sort of looks like a Mars Attacks Martian with his big brain.
Do you know, I think it all comes from the same source, actually. Mars Attacks, when was that? I mean, not the film, which is a lot more recent, but I think Mars Attacks, the little trading cards were 1950s, 60s?
Yeah, maybe. Let me have a look.
So I'm pretty sure they actually would have been quite current, or at least in very recent memory when this thing came out. And one thing I like about this story is, as much as anything, as much as the Cybermen and that stuff, is the fact that it gives the Cybermen a depth that perhaps, well, we had sort of seen it. We knew a lot about their planet Mondas, I guess.
1962.
Oh, there you go. So it's only literally 3-4 years before this came out, and so they might even still have been in circulation. I think they were quite big. So there's no reason not to suppose actually that this wasn't partly inspired by Mars Attacks, or at least by the same things that Mars Attacks was inspired by. You know, alien with a big brain in a glass bulbous hat. You know, what's not the like Dan Dare and all that kind of thing. The Mekon. That's what I was kind of getting
it's
at.
Also like there's another film, old one. This Island Earth is like that as well, with the big brain and stuff.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and things like the Keys of Marinus, which Terra Nation wrote a few years before this, has brains in a jar. It's kind of a sort of pulp sci-fi staple of the era, isn't it? So but I was just kind of saying, you know, that the whole depth of the cyber race, if you like, the fact they're in tombs and they've left these logic puzzles, it's, you know, there's just something about the Cybermen that just evolves with each story. It's like they try something a little bit different. You know? So obviously the big difference is we've got Michael Kilgareth, big guy playing the cyber controller, big helmet, gives them a sort of a kind of leader figure, I guess, to direct operations, which they hadn't really had up until this point. So it gives the Doctor a kind of a clear adversary, you know, like a one-on-one, in mano kind of thing. So that's quite fun. There you go. So he's quite a big guy, isn't he? Well, Michael.
Yeah, you're right.
He's large again. He's a big fella, like, you know, he's almost as big as my uncle Steve. You know what I mean? He was a big lad and all. There you go. Slight. I don't think these are massively different from the Moonbase Cybermen.
No, not huge. There
might be a few little tweaks, I guess, here and there.
Sort of metal mouth, haven't they?
Yeah, they've still got lots of sticky tape around the eyes, and that one looks like he's had a bit of a knock in the eye, like, you know, he's got like a black eye or something going on, and he needs to start moving, otherwise people will start posting things through his mouth.
I just
stick a postcard in there.
How did the Cybermen come about as you know, creatures? Do you know that? I'm assuming.
What do you mean behind the scenes in production?
Yeah. Why don't you detail that a little bit?
They put me on the spot like that at this time of night. I'm pretty sure I've said it before on some other time, but to my knowledge, and very briefly, it was Christopher/Kit Pedler, who was a bit of a scientist, boffin dude, who the story editor Jerry Davis had kind of befriended and thought that a lot of his ideas would be quite useful if they were transported into Doctor Who. So Kit Pedler's first kind of contribution, if you like, to Doctor Who was the idea of a kind of worldwide super networked computer called Wotan. Which was lodged in the post office tower, BT tower, whatever you call it. It was post office tower back then. And it kind of transmitted all kinds of weird broadcast signals to take over the world's electronics and thereby people's like brains and stuff, you know, and try and get some kind of this insidious AI, networked AI, taking over the planet. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? Crazy ideas. They'd never happen in real life, you know. But that's a thing, right? Because it kind of foresaw the internet and, you know, Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So he was definitely on it. He knew his stuff, Kit Pedler. So one of his other ideas, that was one of them. The other one was because he was quite interested in sort of cybernetics, which was quite a new thing then. The idea of having a hand replaced by a prosthetic hand that could be controlled from electrical signals from the brain. And if you could even analyze those signals, you know, could you replicate them electronically fully? You know what I mean? So it's I think the Cybermen are kind of an extension of that idea, because people still were starting to experiment with prosthetics, and not just dumb prosthetics. The idea of just having a hand like a Captain Hook kind of thing. You know, you get your hand amputated, you stick a hook on it, or something that looks like a hand but can't actually move around or do anything. The idea was the brain sends electrical signals, so could they replicate or mimic those in some way or transfer them? You know, that kind of thing. So that's kind of where the Cybermen sort of came from. And it was a big hit. It was a big success. Hence the fact they pretty much remodeled the 10th planet almost beat for beat in the Moonbase. You know, we had two base under siege stories pretty close to each other. I think we were only like 4 stories apart in the end. So, you know, they were quite close in production terms. Anyway, so yeah, and this is from Tomb, where we get the ice tombs, which I think we looked at in more detail in another podcast, didn't we?
Yes, that's the sort of iconic thing for them, isn't it? Breaking out of those tombs there like that, yeah.
And you go, it's gone back in the sequence now, so that's good. And then we get the wheel in space, and this is a very, very fuzzy picture. I've obviously blown it up because it's tiny normally, so I've just kind of expanded it so we can see what it is. And again, we've had another bit of a redesign. This guy I think he's lost a safety pin somewhere because his chest piece is looking very wonky. I think this is a publicity shot, actually, looking at this. I think it is based off a similar image where Zoe is kind of working at a computer desk or something. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's tiny, isn't it? There you go. But they look a bit different again. So they've got these teardrop eyes, which we didn't have previously. If you look again from the Moonbase
Tomb. Previous to that? Go back a few.
No, that was their first, mate.
I thought they had it in one of those. So that's when it first appeared.
That was their first one. Was Wheel in Space, which is quite a favourite of some. I think I saw some comments on Blue Sky and Twitter where people were saying, they quite like the Wheel in Space. And I think actually these guys, they're more kind of stylized, aren't they? You know, they are very sort of stylized. I thought, do you know what, actually, I thought, thinking about it now you mentioned it, I thought the Tomb guys had teardrop eyes, because there's that thing in their tomb, isn't there? But they don't.
No. So look, here's a comment on Twitter. Do you want to get the Facebook ones up while we're doing this? Because we've had quite a lot of comments, so we should acknowledge them.
Yeah.
So
we will.
Matt Lee Newby says the Mondasians are creepy as hell, but my favourites are my favourites are the Space Wheel Cybermen, the first to have teardrops. The Invasion and 80s Cybermen are also iconic, though I think the noughties Cybermen looked too much like Tonka toys. Weakest design has to be the Iron Man Cybes from the Smith era. So
they don't seem massively popular, do they?
No, which is.
Ones, but we'll look at those in a bit, actually.
So I'm just having a quick. So Greg Cox, Moonbase / Tomb are for me the best and definitive Cybermen. 10th Planet, Wheel, and Invasion come next jointly. Not a fan of the 80s and onwards. They look over-designed to me. And then just leaping ahead a little bit, Fifth Doc Action Fig says, I like the 2013 Nightmare design the best, though the Earthshock look is a close second. So isn't it interesting, you know, like the consensus is
consensus
often wrong. You know, the Nightmare design is disliked. I actually really like it. I think it's kind of a nice evolution again. It's kind of really sleek and you know, kind of modern. I do get the Iron Man thing, and I also understand why they did it in the show at the time. But it's still, you know, it's a cool design. I think.
I think it's all right. Yeah, I don't know anything particularly against it. I mean, I kind of like the Cybermen anyway, and I always look forward to what they're going to look like with the next time we see them, you know, what changes are going to be made. And okay, there are some that I prefer more than others, but you know, on the whole, it's such a good idea.
Yeah. Saying
just
you know,
keep it going.
Greg Cox posted again. He said, "New Who Cybermen just seem like Cylons from Battlestar Galactica to me."
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I replied to that one with the Cylon gift because I did by your command.
I hate all stomping, servo noise, and delete nonsense.
Sounds like a bit like your washing machine. Sounds like a bit like Cyberman.
Yeah.
That clattering you can hear in the background, ladies and gentlemen, it's Jeff's washing machine. Just put that out there.
I'm just going to say he whinges about that all the time.
Because you can hear it on the audio all the time. Click, clack, mate, clatter, clack.
It's you know it. It's on the go. It's literally on all day long, every day. So I have 5 people in the house. There is a lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah, no one would notice if you switched it off for an hour.
Well, the kids' school uniforms won't be ready for the morning.
They would never know.
You come round and you deal with the fallout.
I'm not going anywhere near your house, mate. Yeah. That's a danger zone right there. Right, okay, Facebook. Shall I share the Facebook page?
Yeah, you do. I've got a load of Twitters to read here as well.
Because then it's actually probably easier to do it that way, actually, because we had quite a good. So we put this little post out on our own Facebook page. We also put it out on a couple of others. So Doctor Who Infinity, we love those guys. We love you guys, Matt and the guys from Doctor Who Infinity. They let us post on there lots, so we're really grateful for that, and we get some really good engagement actually. So I put this kind of question out on the group page to see what people thought of Cyberman, and we got all kinds of nice things. So we got something very short. Graham Harmon says 66, 75. That's it. Nothing before, nothing after. Because wasn't anything before that, but there you go. But this one made me laugh, actually. Christy Schumann, who put the Disney version. I haven't seen that before, but I don't know what that is, but some kind of Dumbo the elephant / cyber Dear. So thank you, Christy, for that. We've got John Kelly, the originals, and the ones from Peter Capaldi. So creepy, you can tell they were human. The Wheel in Space version says Andy Parker. Robert Timex says 80s neomorphs. Now this is quite fun actually. We'll get onto those in a bit,
Okay.
but just bear that one in mind. They're all excellent. I like that one. Norman Church says, toss up between the 10th Planet and Invasion. Do have a liking for the ones from Wheel in Space, a bit like the tweet that you read out. Bud Weston says, like the first 4 versions, the best. Geo Klingon Hutchinson says, shall we say the classic and New Who had different genesis? Shall we say that? Shall we? Let's say that. Why not? In fact, Geo Klingon did actually say that. So, Dondre Williams, original and Earthshot versions. Silver Nemesis are the best, says Jim Small. Now, these were the Silver Nemesis was the story that got you into Doctor Who first.
That's right. Yeah.
Raymondo Curry, just to finish this up, says, I like them all. I just don't care much for the one from the parallel universe with the fatal electric shock touch. Delete. And the Cybermaster versions wearing Time Lord robes. So, yeah, we've got a fair bit in there.
Yeah.
We did get... I think we did get something on our Facebook, our actual Facebook page as well, actually. We did, from our brilliant friend, our lovely friend, Eleanor Jodie Alashevsky, who says, those early fellas were so creepy, all caps. Brilliantly recreated in World Enough and Time / The Doctor Falls. Of the modern versions, Ashad is brilliant at half-finished Cybermen.
Yeah.
And the Cybermasters were cool because it's just the sort of wacko thing that a master would do. There you go. So somebody loves them, somebody hates them, somebody doesn't like them. You know, it's exactly that, isn't it? You know?
Well, I've got some more Twitter, but let's go back through looking at their evolution over the years. So where are we up to?
Okay,
Wheel in Space.
We are up to, Wheel in Space. Let me just go back to the share screen. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's technological, this, isn't it? There we are. Ooh. Right, here we are. So there's the Wheel in Space dude again. So let's move on. So, there you go. That's the Wheel in Space firing out from the top of his hat.
Yeah.
Some wavy beams that give them mind controlled stuff going on and what have you. So... right, so then we come to my favourite Troughton story. One of my favourite Cybermen. Iconic, the invasion.
Every time I drive past St. Paul's or go near it, I think about them wandering around. And then, of course,
can you get that view? You sort of get that view.
Yeah,
that building,
Capaldi
I don't think is there anymore, is it? Sorry,
Capaldi went there for water. What's it called?
Death in Heaven.
Yeah. Dark Water, Deep Water?
Dark Water, yeah.
Because that's where Missy reveals herself, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they also sort of recreated this in Doomsday as well, didn't they?
Yes, possibly, yes.
Because Graham Harper was directing it. I remember seeing a Doctor Who Confidential where they were really keen on trying to line up as close as they could some of those iconic shots from the invasion.
Yeah, these guys here, the bodysuit is sort of a bit of an evolution from the shiny sort of jumpsuit that we just saw. But the head
I'm just going to shoot back a bit. Hold on.
Yeah, those.
There you go. So that's.
Yeah.
I think it's still a diving suit actually. I think it is. I think it's like a wetsuit or something.
Is it? You can see.
But what I really like on these, exactly. Yeah, you've got the zip. So either one conversion. They say, right, you're nicely converted. Now let's get you sorted. Put your hats on. How's that feeling? Dong, dong, dong. Very good. Now let's just do your zip up. Hey, you're good to go now. Go on then, Cyberman. Go out and do your cyber thing. Right, where's the next one?
He's probably just like circuits underneath. He's probably like C-3PO when you see some of his plates missing.
Yeah, or maybe it's not a zip. It just looks to us like a zip because that's what our human minds kind of try and analogize or something. So
possibly,
I don't even know if that's a word.
No, you've just found like that.
I just sound clever, don't I? There you go. Yeah. So the good thing about these guys as well, I mean, I love this story. It's a kind of, it is a unit story, isn't it? It's like the first actual proper unit story, and it sort of sets a template for the bunch of others that follow. Actually, arguably, the Wotan story, the War Machines, is the first kind of unit story that's not a unit story, but nonetheless. Oh wait, no, was the Web of Fear was a unit story, wasn't it?
I remember.
Yeah, it was. So this is the second unit story. Oh, it's getting late, honestly. Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. Anyway, so these guys fire from actual guns that are a bit more feisty. They shoot flames from a nozzle, from a barrel, and they still have chest pieces.
Yeah,
but of course, this is the big addition, isn't it? The kind of that sort of corrugated, stepped metal earmuff kind of look. So if you took that away, actually, they look the same as or similar to the Wheeling Space dudes.
Particularly on the guy on the left there, actually. If he took his headphones off, he'd look very similar.
Him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just ignore that bit, and then you've got which is probably all they did. They probably just recast the same mold and just whacked
quite possibly,
big muffs on the end.
Yeah.
But this is the silhouette that kind of got me excited when I was a kid, sort of growing up with pictures of Cybermen. But
it's funny because the Daleks, the silhouette is sort of, apart from the paradigm, is essentially totally the same. There's differences, yes, I know, but the Cybermen, their developments are quite a bit more striking, I think, aren't they? In terms of this head here is quite substantially different to the ones prior to it.
Yeah.
It's quite a big overhaul. Yeah.
So yeah, they were good fun. And then, of course, we didn't get Cybermen during John Pertwee's era. No. So it's not until we get to 1975 with Revenge of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. And then we get this guy, the Cyber Leader. So he's distinguished from the other Cybs by having sort of black top hat and black sort of earmuff kind of things. And they've redone the handles. They're like a vacuum cleaner hose. They got the sort of ridges on them, haven't they?
Is this someone commented on Twitter? Let me see if I can find it. William Patrick Gallagher, David Banks, Cyber Leader. Is that David there, or was that
no? This is
a bit late.
David Banks would have been about 2 years old here, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, he could still do
it. About 5-ish, maybe. Thereabouts, 5 or 6. He wouldn't have been there, but he probably would have seen this as he was growing up, maybe, and being kind of like, woo, astounded by it. So this is the Cybermen in colour. And I remember reading Terrence Dix's novelisation of Revenge of the Cybermen, really enjoying it. And I think that's where he describes these Cybermen as a bit like Vikings. No, tell a lie. It's Jerry Davis's introduction to the Cybermen at the start of pretty much all the books that he wrote, where he introduces the Cybermen as kind of Vikings of space. So they're like raiders. They exist in pockets. They're not a race as such because their home planet has been destroyed. But there's like collections of them all over the shop, and they're getting a little bit desperate. And I kind of like the idea of that, because I think maybe what they're getting at in Revenge of the Cybermen is that this is a desperate small single ship or of Cybermen who, right at the end of the Cyber Wars, find this planet of gold and attempt to destroy it by some really ridiculous means, but nonetheless, it provides for a thrilling adventure. I love this story in book form. It was one of my favourites.
Really?
I think I read it in 2 hours or something like that. Just cover to cover and then started reading it again. It's really fast paced. And then when I eventually got around to watching it on VHS, I thought, oh, it's a bit of a plot, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Crikey, yeah, it just needs to get going.
Looking at him there with his black hat on, and for some reason I was just thinking, I wonder if I was surprised in the modern series they didn't do them with different coloured heads, a bit like the Paradigm Daleks were, more.
Maybe they will in the future. Maybe figures, that's where we go. Yeah. Slightly blurry image, this one, so I won't dwell on it, but that's I like this image because these two guys actually look quite happy. Obviously, the Cybermen are supposed to be emotionless and everything else, but they look like they're, putting together some Lego or something.
An angle is giving a smile there, yeah.
It's just an unfortunate cut, isn't it? It just looks like he's saying, so anyway, Dave, I was saying down pub the other night, and you do get that, there's that publicity shot. It's not
is that what they're smoking?
It's an iconic shot with just Cyberman having a little cigarette, a little ciggy, you know what I mean? Have a little smoke down the stop.
If you type GIF in of Cyberman, it brings up a dancing Cyberman from
that's it.
Doctor Who Confidential, I think. So these guys,
I love these guys because I've got them in figure form, character options. There we go. I was very pleased to get hold of these. So, and they don't talk like the others either because we've had some weird voices. So we had the sing-song voice from the 10th planet, and then we had the "You will be like us" from the second Doctor, which is really difficult to understand what they're saying. To be honest, without subtitles. So God knows how they manage in tiny black and white monochrome with single channel, very low resolution audio piping out of a tiny speaker in a wooden box. So that must have been, what are they saying, Mum, Dad? I have no idea. But they're more legible in Revenge. I think one of them's got a bit of a sort of slightly South African, David Robbie, I think, who plays the cyber leader. I don't know if he's Australian or something like that. So, but he's definitely got an accent. Anyway. Then we get to these guys. 1980s. What do you think of these, Jeff?
Do you know, just looking back at them, at this whole lot, I'm actually quite hard pressed to pick a favourite because, like you said earlier, Silver Nemesis is what got me into watching Who. So I've always sort of had a soft spot for the Cybermen, and I remember when they came back in Age of Steel, I thought their redesign was really cool. And I remember I really wanted to buy a figure of them. So I just thought they looked so good, and I never got it for some reason. And looking at them here, like the 10th Planet ones are really creepy, and they look really great. And then there's the moon-based ones as well. They all look really good, and I like something about all of them. These are the guys where you can, do they have the little bit of the blue light in the mouth, or you can see the mouth through the kind of glass piece, and he's got more tubing coming out there and stuff, and the sort of shoulder pads going on. And the head bit is more kind of developed as well. At the top there, they just look really cool.
They do, don't they? Yeah, I think they look. So these were the Cybermen that I knew as a kid, from watching Earthshock, and I've spoke about Earthshock in this podcast many times, but I loved it. I mean, it took me a little while just to kind of think, are they Cybermen? They are Cybermen, because this pit, even though it's been, I think I've heard some people saying they're a bit over designed, and I kind of would agree, but I love it. I used to spend hours trying to draw these buggers in the back of my school exercise books. You know what I mean? With not much source material to go on, really. There weren't that many images of them around. They must have been something, because I do remember sort of sitting there painstakingly drawing these wires coming out of their earmuffs and getting the ridges right and getting this detail, on the top of his crown right, and the lights, the handles with their slightly different, sort of different gauges on the handles, and the width of the shoulder pads as well, because obviously it's the 80s, so they had shoulder pads and moon boots. Of course, and this is the cyber leader. So this is David Banks,
right?
And he's got his black handles. So that's the only differentiation now. It's just the handlebars themselves are the only thing that's black. Actually, he must have been at least in his 20s in this. So he probably was it might have been in his teens when Revenge of the Cybermen was out. But anyway, I digress.
Just going to read a comment from
go for it.
Twitter, a name that's new to me, Rizwanul Hack. He says, the ones in Earthshock /5 Doctor /Attack of the Cybermen. Started watching Doctor Who in the 80s, so I grew up with them. And he's shared a picture. I wonder if I can, I'm assuming this is a character options figure, but he's, Paul, can I just take over a minute? I just want to...
Can you take over?
Yeah. Here you go.
Dun, dun, dun.
So he shared a picture of his Cyberman figure here.
Oh, there you go.
Which looks really cool. So that's the leader, isn't it? The handles are not black here, but it looks great. And I really like the suit here as well. Sort of this jumpsuity again, but it's kind of got like little bits of armour, something on it there. Looks really good. Yeah, I like that. So there we go. Thank you for that. That's brilliant.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it a lot.
Right.
Yeah,
As
that's
you
very
were.
good. Right, where were we up to? This lad. Oh, actually, what I'll do, let me just load this one up actually, because this is quite a thing. So remember, we had a guy on Facebook talking about neomorphs. So one thing that David Banks did, because he was very much into his Cybermen, is he kind of wrote and published this kind of thing. So again, it's another ropey image. I'm sure there must be a better one out there, but it's a novel from the 80s. This is not the original cover because it's got Sylvester McCoy's logo once. There was a version before this which had the neon logo, I'm pretty sure, by David Banks, illustrated by Andrew Skilleter, with an introduction by Jerry Davis, creator of the Cybermen. So what David Banks tried to do is effectively kind of draw connections between each of the different cyber races or evolutions that we've looked at. So you have Cybermen from Mondas, Cybermen from Telos, and we've also had Planet 14 mentioned in the Invasion as well. So, what's Planet 14? You've got the Viking Marauders of the Revenge of the Cybermen, and it's actually really good. I didn't used to have this, but I did have a copy of it from the library, and annoyingly, I actually gave it back, which is unusual for me. So I'm pretty disappointed by that. But if I remember, there was like a whole kind of family tree of all the different sort of cyber races which he kind of put together. That's how much of a nerd David Banks was back in the 80s. Yeah. He was a proper dyed in the wool Doctor Who fan, and particularly Cybermen. He played them. So
I just sorry, I just looked on Blue Sky, and Jodie Toybox had shared a GIF of that Cyberman going excellent.
Excellent.
So a fan there as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's brilliant that David Banks is sort of well into it like that, and
totally, yeah.
Dive further into the creatures.
So, but this is where I think the whole idea of neomorphs comes from. I think it's partly that, and so whether it came from David Banks' book or whether it came from, because there was a role playing game out as well which referred to these Cybermen as, or a variation of these Cybermen as neomorphs. So it's like a more advanced kind of offshoot of the Cybermen that we'd seen previously. So I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but if anybody does, write in and let us know, educators, if you will, please. So there you go. That's the cyber leader there, talking to the Doctor about the delights of a well-prepared meal, or Doctor's trying to convince the cyber leader that that's a good thing, and sunsets and all that kind of thing. And of course, it falls on deaf ears. But yeah, there you go. That's the glass sort of mouthpiece. Then we get the 5 Doctors, which is very similar, but you see they've kind of coloured the mouthpiece in a little bit.
Yeah, I prefer that probably. Yeah, it's more sort of robotic. Yeah.
I think it gives the mouth a kind of stronger sort of definition. It does, sort of downturned. There's no mistaking this Cyberman as a happy Lego builder. No. He's very much a mean machine. So it's they're quite definitely a villain in this piece. And of course they get slaughtered, which is brilliant. It's it could be really difficult to get rid of a Cyberman, or it could be really easy. Depends what the story needs, I suppose. But it's good fun watching them get diced and sliced in the 5 Doctors. So that's a lot of fun. Then we got Attack of the Cybermen, which I don't think sees a huge amount of difference. I think there might be some variation in the actual suit itself, not the armor, the chest piece or the helmet, but the actual suit. I think is a different material, or is it actually? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the same kind of thing.
Very similar.
I don't know, maybe a few more little wires and stuff. But the reason I picked this one out is because it features number one, Michael Kilgareth back as the cyber controller. Now we're supposed to believe that this is the exact same cyber controller that we saw back in the tomb of the Cybermen, way back in 60.
What, the one with the big brain?
Whenever it was. And it is, but he's putting a little bit of weight there, or they've given him more electronics. Yeah, obviously, happens to a few of us when we get to a certain age. But there you go. But that's number one, which he's still got the domed helmet. He hasn't got the handles.
No.
But number 2 is we also get this lad. You see him in the background?
Yeah.
The black painted Cybermen, aka the stealth Cyberman. Now, I actually did have to take this shot from BBC iPlayer. So thank you for that, BBC iPlayer. Because getting a good shot of this guy online is very, very difficult. He's only in it for like a few seconds. He's
because he's stealthy.
Because he's stealth, exactly. Yeah. And more than that, he's in the shadows. When you do see him in the sewers, it's so dark lit and spooky, which is brilliant. And this thing just kind of emerges from the shadows to gun people down in the sewers of London. But for one brief moment, he's with the others in this brightly white lit TARDIS console room of Colin Baker's.
Yeah, he's. I was looking him up. He's pretty cool, isn't he?
He's very cool. I remember seeing a picture of this
variation.
Guy. Yeah. Al, get on it. So I remember seeing a pic of this guy in the Radio Times just before Attack of the Cybermen. And I was very excited. I thought all the Cybermen now were going to be black painted Cybermen. I thought it was going to be great. And they weren't, but he's in there for a few moments and he's brilliant. So
yeah, I like that.
Kudos to him. You like that one, yeah?
Yeah, he's cool.
He's good, isn't he? Then we get Silver Nemesis. Shiny.
Look at them.
How shiny they are.
Chrome. Yeah.
Chrome. Yeah.
Chrome.
Silver. See, it's even coming onto my face, but that's quite a nice detail. So it's like a grill, like a Perspex sort of grill in the chin.
Yeah.
And it looks a bit more tidy around the arms as well. If you look at these little wires coming from the chest plate.
Sleek,
yeah, the only thing is, I mean, just in this light anyway, these connectors to the wires. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what that does to Cybermen, don't we?
Yeah.
I believe the light at the top of his helmet's been redesigned as well. So it's not quite as complicated as a piece as it was there in Attack or Earthshock.
Yeah, they look really good.
And then, of course, we're into the era of New Who.
Yeah. I really like.
What do you think of these guys? The Cybers, the alternate universe Cybermen.
I mean, they are, far more robotic, but
delete.
And I get it. You know, it's aiming at kids as well. I have to say, I didn't like the metal Y fronts, but I understand the actors have got to move around somehow. They wanted them to be a little bit more, machine-like with the cabling and stuff for show. But yeah, the design on these guys, they're brilliant. It's sort of like,
do you like it?
Yeah, Art Deco, and they look really good. So there's a comment here on Blue Sky from Mark Stockley. He says, I've got a soft spot for the 80s design, but the originals are a close second. The Cybers era were just marauding robots and missed the body horror. I quite liked the redesign for Jodie's era, but they still felt too robotic. And then over on Twitter, Warreny says, design the Lumic ones.
That's these fellas.
Yeah, the story, though, the best story is absolutely World Enough and Time that the Doctor Falls.
I do like that one.
Let's just go back up a little bit. Greg Cox. Zachary McDonald said, favourite story is Attack of the Cybermen, and my favourite design is also from this episode. Nothing beats the classic Who Cybermen. I hate the robot-looking ones. It's quite interesting, isn't it? The sort of split on things. Did we get a voice note as well about Cybermen?
Oh, yes, we did. Yeah, should we have a listen to the voice note? So this is from Amy, right? So I haven't heard it yet,
no.
But here it goes.
Hello. My favorite Cyberman design is the Mundassian Cyberman, particularly the ones from the 10th planet. I love the shots of the human hands. My favorite episode is the two-parter, World Enough in Time, The Doctor Falls. We get such a true sense of the body horror, like in the scene where those poor creatures are sitting there in pain over and over, and the nurse just lowers the volume. There is no relief for them. We have the hopelessness of the situation with the Cybermen constantly coming. There is no escape. They're coming for the children. the horror of what happened to Bill, the 12th Doctor's epic last stand. It's just a bleak, tense, heartbreaking finale, and I absolutely love it. And we have within that two-parter the essence, the pure essence of who the Doctor is. It's a great two-parter.
It is. Thank you, Amy, so much for that. That is brilliant. We love having voice notes, and some really good points in there, right?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned earlier about the the pain bit, and there's an awful lot of love for World Enough and Time and the Doctor Falls, isn't it? I feel
it's a good story.
It is really good. I need to go back and
we should look at that in more detail. Maybe we should do a little commentary or a little focus on it.
We haven't done a Capaldi for a while. I haven't watched that one for a little while, so perhaps we should do that. But thank you, Amy. That was great to have a voice note. If anyone listening wants to send us a voice note, actually you can do it two ways now. You can go to speakpipe.com/whoc2c, or if you go to our website, I believe you can do it through there when you have the option to send fan mail, so you can do a recording there,
a little voice recording.
Be lovely. So please do.
Indeed,
please do. Yeah.
So what about these guys then? So we've talked about them a few times now.
Yeah,
these dudes from Nightmare in Silver. So you like these, aka the Iron Man kind of design, right?
Yeah, it's as a design in itself, I like it. I do understand why people, perhaps don't, because they are very, very robotic. Which in some ways some of the Cybers ones, So on a purely kind of design level and what they do, I liked it, and they were good fun. But I do get why people kind of miss that body horror element of them.
What we also get in here, if I remember, the first time we sort of see a kind of cyber AI at the heart of things, don't we? So, because one thing we haven't talked about here is the other cyber creatures. So we got Cybermats, which first appeared, I think, in Tomb, or were they in Moonbase?
I can't remember.
I think it was Tomb of the Cyberman, but I could well be wrong. But nonetheless, little kind of mousy rat creatures that might actually not be anything to do with the Cyberman in a way, right? Because I think the inference in there is that they're another electronic kind of life form that might have actually naturally evolved, which is a great idea. I love the idea of that. They got nasty teeth, but the Cybermen have kind of adapted them or adopted them in some ways. So, and I think in Spare Parts, they're another Mondasian sort of creature that are just like rats, but they're electronic. And we get the cyber mats again in Revenge, but they're like big, long, kind of almost snaky sort of things. Yeah. And in here, I think, was it Closing Time? We saw the cyber mats return.
Time,
Yeah, which I haven't got represented in these pictures, but nonetheless, in this one, in Nightmare in Silver, we get the AI, the cyber AI, don't we? Which I guess is a bit like the machine that Tobias Vaughan perhaps reported to in The Invasion, possibly. I think there's always been an idea that right at the heart of cyber society, there's some kind of controlling.
Well, that's the
kind of super engine or something.
Cyberium that we have in,
of course, that's
Ascension of the Cybermen stuff. Yeah.
But that's what that's quite a nice thing. That's also kind of through the Cybermen as well. And I think when you look back now on how, so back in the 60s, the big concern was like replacing body parts and prosthetics and all that kind of thing, and that still remains, but it's perhaps taken a back seat to concerns that have been more pressing in the last few decades. So the rise of electronics, which is how the Cybermen in Invasion get a foothold in that story, and then of course it's starting to come into more like sort of nanotechnology and AI and things like that. And the Cybermen, this is, I think, is one of the reasons why they've been so
enduring.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're just able to represent a lot of our fears of the new. Where is technology going? How is it going to change us? And it's quite interesting that these Cybermen from Nightmare and Silver that we're looking at quite often describes as being more robotic, and they're more kind of, they're big on AI, and they're faster, they're stronger, they move quick. Lightning, aren't they?
They're really fast, yeah. It's not unbelievable to me that, the Cybermen would eventually kind of evolve into just being sort of purely robotic things. Like this, maybe there's a human brain in there or something.
Oh yeah, as the human element diminishes over constant adaptations, right?
Yeah, I did like those ones. They were cool.
Yeah, I think they deserve their place in the lexicon of cyber evolution. I think the only downside for me is the fact they almost kind of made them too invincible because they move too quick.
Yeah,
they adapt too fast. So you kind of like set yourself up for a really difficult story, I think, before you've even started. So I don't think we see an awful lot of that in future stories featuring these guys. They become more sort of stompy, I think. But I think they're nice looking. They're a lot sleeker. And then we move into the Jodie Whittaker era. Jodie Whittaker / Chris Chibnall, 13th Doctor anyway. So this, for me, the Cybermen that we first see in Ascension of the Cybermen, they're kind of an amalgamation of classic and new.
Yeah,
would you agree with that?
Yeah. I'm going to sound biased again, but they do look really cool. And like you said, the face there is sort of classic with the tears and the the square mouth like back in the 60s ones, and then the head is kind of a sleeked up.
We've got the earmuffs back, haven't we? The boxy earmuffs.
But they look more a part of it than sort of an add-on.
An add-on.
You've got the light at the top again, which is kind of built into it nicely. That chest piece is more reminiscent of the Nightmare and Silver ones. I think they look...
Yeah, let's just compare them, actually, because it almost looks like
piece.
They've just taken the same mold and just done a few little tweaks. But I mean, this detail in the face, I like that. It's almost kind of where the face is sort of set back from a case. It's like an arm and like an additional armor.
Yes,
I think.
Well, and also looks a little bit like the 80s one with the sort of chin piece, that was sort of defined
and also this detail at the top, actually. In fact, if I, he says, if I do this, hold on, where's he gone? I'll whack him there, and I'll get, where's the 80s guy? That's him. Whoops. 80s dude. It's all right, I know what I'm doing, trust me.
If you're only listening to this, you're missing out. Yeah, he's got that same little...
There you go. So if you look at that detail on the top of his forehead there, it's not too dissimilar in a way.
Yeah.
And like you're saying with the chin piece, perhaps it's
and the earpiece look on the handles, the way they're coming out with that sort of triangular type bit. Yeah, they look great.
Go. They do look great.
It really is.
We've got a few more to kind of look at, because I think one of the most interesting, to put it mildly, is the Cyberlords. Now, I'm going to be honest. I've never been a big fan of these guys. I think they look. I think they're there for effect, and I like the way that Jodie Alashowski in our Facebook comment earlier actually put these as the kind of wacky thing that the mask would do, because that for me is the only way you can kind of justify these things happening.
That's what it is. I would say they are an unofficial Cyberman. I love the idea that they've got sort of Time Lord bits in them, so they can just...
It's like the Master mocking the Time Lords, right?
They just keep regenerating and getting back up again. I thought that was cool. But the design is sort of quite flamboyant. I love the unnecessary spikes on the shoulders there, and the cape element. So I think they look good. It was a bit of fun. Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, actually, if you sort of think about it, because I do think about these things, it keeps me awake at night. But if you have a constant, we know how much pain the Cybermen are in, right? We've seen that in the World Enough in Time. We had it in the Cybermen as well, right? And it's kind of a thread that really sort of has run throughout the modern series for sure. So if you imagine if you're in that much pain and your emotions are repressed and everything else, right? And then you die, that's probably one of the only way you kind of get released from it, really. But then you regenerate and have to go through the pain again. There's no like kind of evolution. You know, the Cybermen internally, you know, the human part of them doesn't evolve. It continues to die and to do so constantly, a living death over and over again.
Which is quite
kind of horrifying, isn't it?
It is. That's horrible,
But, you know, it's not necessarily expressed in these guys. It's more implicit, I guess, but it's got to be a story that's got to explore that somewhere. In fact, I think I'm going to write it, so I'm going to copyright that right now. And if I see it anywhere else, then I'm taking it to court. And then we get a few other ones. So this is my favourite, I think, is Mr. Ashad, the lone Cyberman, right?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I mean, he is, as a character, terrifying, but he sort of mashes in, you know, the arm look, or his left arm there is kind of, 10th planet, you know, the hand is visible, which is really kind of
it is this whole arm, it's pure 10th planet, isn't it?
You know,
his left arm.
You know, the body there is, a bit like the ones we've just been looking at, and the older ones. You know, the helmet is sort of, cyber leader type thing with a slightly darker bit, but you can see his face in it as well, which is great. I think he's a real sort of, an inner Frankenstein themed, inspired episode. It makes sense, but he's just a sort of bodge of everything, really.
But is he a Cyberman, really?
Well, he's sort of trying to restart them, isn't he, and bring the glory of them back, because we see that space debris field of all the cyber bodies and stuff from the war and things. So I think just the character in himself was had a lot more personality, obviously, because the literal human element visible.
He is, I mean, he's if all the other Cybermen have a diminished humanity about them, then he's almost the kind of reverse of that. Yeah. He's the most human, but unfortunately, he's the worst example of humanity. Yes,
exactly. And I think that's what makes him an interesting character, because there is that humanity. And is he a Cyberman? Is he not? And it's very interesting. There's a comment here from Ifrit 17 on Twitter. The Jodie era Cybermen, Cybermasters look so cool. A great blend of classic and modern. The Mondasian Cybermen from Jodie's era are so amazingly well done. I think he looks brilliant. If our friend Al is listening, I hope one day he'll release the Ashad figure.
One day,
he'd be
he's
great.
He's not a fan, is he? It would be good, but
and Al's point is that he's literally a man in a costume, which I on a literal sense, yes, because you can see his face and he's wearing that helmet and things like that. But yeah, he looks so cool. Yeah.
Now, what about these guys? We're kind of out of sequence again here, actually, just because I added these guys in afterwards. But I was watching, for the first time in years, I watched The Next Doctor. Because I remember there was Cybermen in that, and I thought, I hadn't seen it for a long, long time. And I was actually quite surprised by the variety of cyber forms in this story. So we've got, we've got a slightly... Well, we got the Cybermen again, haven't we? Still stomping them with their pistons and electrifying death touch and all that. But we've also got this cyber leader in the middle, again, sort of distinguished by his black handles, his black face, and his brain on show. Because
I love
why wouldn't
the
you
brain is on show?
I know. If you got a brain, why not show it? I think actually in the Age of Steel,
you see the brain there as well, don't you?
There was the cyber leader, sort of proto cyber leader with his brain on display, but not to quite extreme as this one. I think because he's got that sort of black visor around his eyes and nose,
makes it a bit scary.
Yeah, it's a bit more contrast. But then we also get the Cyber King, a good bit of steampunk nonsense there. I mean, there's no rationale for this, even though it's just a cool thing to have right in the mind of Russell T Davis's fever dream. But then why not? You know, it kind of comes out of nowhere.
Fun, yeah.
It's supposed to be a spaceship. I think it's described that in the story, right? A dreadnought class spaceship. And it's just okay. It just happens to have arms and legs and a head that turns, but why not? Do you know what, one thing I did notice watching it yesterday was these gouts of steam that just constantly billow up from these big pipes on his back as he's stomping around London.
Yeah,
but it's. Do you know? I love this story. Actually, I don't think it was massively overly praised. I think you kind of loved it, hate it, kind of thing. But you know, I watched it again. I thought, you know, certainly the first sort of half to three quarters of it is full of incident. It's full of signature kind of some of the 10th Doctor's. You know, David Tennant, when he's just in the zone as the Doctor, is just, you just can't take your eyes off him. He's so good on screen. And you just follow him. The camera follows him. The camera's moving. And
it was good fun. Then, I think they, by calling it The Next Doctor and sort of playing like his, David Morrissey, the new Doctor and things, I think that kind of hype overshadowed what was, maybe, I don't know, a little bit of fun in the end.
I didn't think of it at the time. I remember thinking, what do they mean by that? Because I know the title is obviously a tease, because I think we'd had a sort of a kind of tease regeneration at the end of
Series 4.
This follows from the Dalek 2-part, doesn't it?
Right,
Journey's End and what have you.
Yeah.
So that whole thing that was going on kind of carried over, I think, into this, and they because it just got people watching at Christmas, which is what they wanted.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then, of course, we had the Cyber Shades, which I think we spoke about a short while ago. So are they bears? Are they dogs? But they're pretty mad, aren't they?
I quite like the helmet like that. It's with all the face with the...
Well, it's like, if you look at that shape there, that sort
That's like
of triangular kind of silhouette is very much like the inside of the box on the Cyber Warriors from Jodie's era.
Yeah.
It's almost like you take that and you build the rest of the helmet around it. But these are great guys. Obviously very strong, quite brutal, very primitive, animalistic, and I'd kind of like to see them again. I hope we do, actually, because I think there's some fun to be had with the Cyber Shades. And that's it. I did actually. Yeah, I started recording a video off iPlayer, which I thought I'd better not do. So let's stop that. Because I wanted to show like the Cybermen and have them talking, but it didn't really work out. So.
Okay. Maybe we can.
Anyways,
so
there you go.
Which one would you say is your favourite design?
I don't know, mate.
It's hard, isn't it?
It is a tough one. Yeah, I don't think there's any that I really dislike. I mean, I love the Cybermen as a concept. I love where they come from. I like the kind of the science behind it, the horror behind it. I just enjoy the way they've mostly been treated through the years. I mean, you know, if you're going to be a hypercritic, say, well, you know, they are a little bit more robotic, but like you said, I think that works in context. You know, I think there's a tragedy to humanity losing its way and becoming more robotic through evolution and upgrades. You know, it's like, you know, change is good and evolution generally is good, but what if it goes wrong? What if we set off down a direction from which there's no escape? You know, the Cybermen represents that warning to us all that this is what can happen. And, you know, it's quite interesting as well, I think, that we've had a few comments. What was that? How the Cybermen are kind of picked up in other shows, right? Cylons, that was it, wasn't it? We had the Cylons. And, you know, it kind of did this whole idea that in sci-fi, we're always fighting robots, right? The original horror in that 1920s black and white sci-fi film Metropolis is all about somebody becoming a robot.
Yeah.
You know, back in the original stories, the Czechoslovakian story, the idea of an automated, mindless workforce just being exploited and losing its humanity, it works on an allegorical level, but it also works in a very physical, real way. You know, because now we're at that point, perhaps, where we can replace our body parts. There's so many little experiments into how the sort of brain works and, you know, manages those areas. And of course, we've got a rise in AI software as well, and that's not going to stop. You know, that's a one-way train. So just hope they do the right thing there, and it doesn't end up with us fighting the Terminators. You know, but the Borg or the Cybermen. You know, all of those guys. They all represent that kind of fear, I think, you know, or warning, whichever way you want to take it. But also, to tell great stories. You know, it's about heroism, it's about bravery, and standing up in front of the things you're afraid of the most, and being brave anyway. You know.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, obviously the show itself is well, Christmas, but some way off. But a Cyberman story that tackles, you know, current concerns and things would be, you know, very timely and do something quite cool with that, I think. So, Big Finish. They need to get on it. Yeah. No,
we'll do it ourselves, mate. What are you on about? Big Finish on it. Yeah, you're welcome to. But, you know, we've got a couple of ideas knocking around.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So that was fun. Anything else to say about Cybermen before we poodle off? Because it is getting quite late now. I think the rest of my family have gone to bed and need me to be quiet and shut up. So
no, I think that's good. Let us know what your favourite Cyberman variation is, and you know, we'll look forward to hopefully hearing more from that. And to everyone who commented, thank you. That's
thank
brilliant.
You very much.
And we will do another best villain episode soon. Yeah, we'll have a chat and figure something out. So on that note, we will say ta-ra for now, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Till next time. Bye for now.